What's up guys, it's Graphic Phoenix back with another video today, and it's me. I'm making a video today about Rango, the guy that resided in this cage for just about 5 years. So as you guys might know, he passed away on January 30th, 2016, and he was one of the best chameleons I could have ever hoped for. I'm going to get into kind of a video of his life. I'll show some clips of him that I got shortly before he passed, as well as any clips I have on my computer. That won't be things from way a long time ago, but I will link videos throughout the video that you can go check out, like the first time I brought him home and just hanging out with him like by a windowsill. Those are both two great videos, so I'll link them when they hit me in the story. Let's get right onto it. His story started off a kind of a sad one. He was basically a Petland mess, essentially. He was ordered with good intention. My buddy ordered him, kind of wanting me to get him because I said I was interested in a chameleon, and he ordered one in, and Rango came in like super tiny. I'd guess probably a month old, maybe, somewhere around there. Maybe a month and a half, like 6 weeks old. I doubt it, just because of how small he really was. Like all chameleons, he was kind of a dink when we had him in the store. He wasn't all that social. He was quite defensive, if you want to put it that way. I would be too. He was kept in a completely wooden cage. It was not proper for him whatsoever. He was being tormented by little 3-year-olds that walk by and go, "Daddy, look, it's a chameleon!" and freak out at him and kind of scare him. He was at the pet store for like 8 to 10 months, I'd guess. He was growing very fast. He had kind of slowed down towards the end just because of the cage size he was being kept in and the improper conditions. He wasn't being fed calcium very often. I don't think he really got any D3 at all. That might have set him up for a little bit of an early death with me. I'm not sure exactly how that could have taken force, but I was only working at the time maybe once a week, so I could only take care of him to the best of my knowledge at the time, like once a week. So we brought him home primarily because of my dad. He was absolutely fascinated by him. He loved him. I brought him in one day and was like, "Oh, Dad, check out the chameleon we have up there." And he checked it out. He's like, "Wow, that is beautiful." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's really nice." My dad was the one that ended up basically buying the cage. We actually had a waterfall at the time. All of the wood, all of the vines, all of the lights, everything. He bought everything for him. I was just essentially the brains behind the operation because that's kind of what I was there for. He wanted it. He bought it. It was his reptile. It definitely wasn't his reptile. It was mine and my mom's. One day after work, my dad came in and had the money, obviously. He bought all the cage. He set it up while I was at work, and he came in right before close to buy Rango. Me and my buddy Daniel actually had to wear like the welding gloves. I mean, we were both chickens, but Rango was not a happy camper. It took us probably like 5 minutes to get him out of that cage, just because of the way the cage was oriented. He could stand on top of a light bar and wouldn't move. Like, you could reach from one side and he'd just kind of like sway over, and then you could reach from the other and he'd sway the other way. It took a while to get him out, but we ended up getting him out, brought him home on April 22nd, 2012. That makes him about 4.5, almost 5 years old at his passing age. I will link a video right now on the screen and in the description down below of a video of me bringing him home and kind of revealing his habitat and him to the YouTube community. I hope you guys go check that out. After some backstory on how I actually brought him home, we're going to go through Rango. What Rango was. When we first brought him home, he was a standard veil chameleon. He huffed and puffed and went all shy, and I never was bitten by him, but he would try and do his fake little jabs at you. And that took quite a while to actually tame him down. And those of you wondering how to tame your lizard or your chameleon, that's what you have to do. It's just time. You have to spend so much time. I spend hours upon hours. I was always in my room, whether watching YouTube, doing homework, hanging out with the reptiles, doing whatever. I was always present with him for whenever I wasn't at school, basically. That got him kind of accustomed to me and what I was and how I would not hurt him. From there, I just slowly worked him, getting him onto my hand, scooping him up. One of the coolest and most fond memories I have of him was we actually got a big umbrella plant, which is similar to the one in his cage, and Kai's cage up there was, I'd throw him up there, he would hang out in my windowsill, and I think if I have another video of him right now, I'll link it right now as well, but he was lying in the tree, he just absorbs it, he loves the sun, he just hung out for so long there. We would just socialize, and I just remember distinctly coming home from school one day, zooming up to my room, going up to Rango, getting him out after a struggle, I assume, putting him on his tree, and I just fell asleep. I completely fell asleep. Like 30, 45 minutes later, I wake up and I was in kind of a panic because I realized I fell asleep with a lizard on my bed with me. He had come down and was kind of like next to me almost, and it was just from that moment on that it was so chill. He was so relaxed. Him and my mom had a great relationship together. My mom really loved Rango. She was extremely sad when he passed. She spent quite a while crying. Obviously, I was pretty upset as well, but I think it definitely devastated my mom the most out of anyone. Rango is just one of those special chameleons that you don't always get. Obviously, I still have some of his bloodline in Kai, and I really know my mom wants to keep that going and wants to breed Kai. Personally, I don't really want a female. I'd rather get a different kind of lizard just to have as a pet. See how that goes. I'll make another video on that some other time. Rango is just one of those chameleons that you don't always get to see. Even his son Kai, obviously personalities are arguably inherited or not. It's not the same. You know, like Rango, you could pull out, I have pictures of him where he's sitting on my chest and I was scratching his chin. He was almost asleep with me, like asleep on me. That's almost unheard of for most chameleons, especially veiled with their rap of being kind of grouchy. It's hard losing animals, and especially ones that are there for like some of the harder times. And me especially, I was kind of a not an awkward kid, but any problems I'd have, I always turned to like my reptiles. I know that sounds super stupid, but I would always turn to them and just kind of talk to them. And whenever I was having a down time or I was really upset with my parents or something happened to me, I would always go upstairs. And when it first started, I had Striker, so I'd pull Striker out. But then when I got Rango, I would just pull him out and just either sit there and cry or sit there and just vent to him or whatever made me feel better. So he was there through kind of the thick and thin of everything. He grew up with me. I would have got him when I was 16, something like that. And for everyone that's in high school, you know high school can be rough. Mine wasn't particularly that hard. And I recommend for anyone that wants a reptile or that wants a chameleon specifically, make sure you do as much research as you possibly can. Don't be one of those guys walking into the pet store or going into like a reptile shop knowing completely nothing and wanting to get a reptile that day. That's when you're going to get it. That's not the right thing. YouTube, chameleon forums, they're all very good places to get information, and I do strongly recommend you research before you decide to bring an animal into your life. What Rango really means to me, he was a very good learning experience for me. He was something that not everybody comes across all the time. He was one of the best lizards I've ever had. He was loved by very many of you. Even when I posted that video, it was very nice to hear how many of you were giving me support, giving my family support, giving each other support, and just seeing how many of you that he truly inspired. I know for some of you, he gave you that reptile love. He inspired you to get a chameleon. He inspired you to get into reptiles. He seemed to inspire quite a few of you guys. I was really surprised to see how many people were sharing their stories, and I really appreciate it. It's really nice for me personally to know that these videos are affecting people. They are spreading the reptile hobby. Reptiles are not something to be feared. They're not something to be killing. They're truly ecologically important to this planet. They do have personality. They can learn. I haven't really taught anything to my reptiles, but they certainly can. Reptiles are a very underrated and beautiful creature. And I think Rango kind of inspired some of you to see that, and certainly inspired some of you to, wow, these chameleons are actually really cool. Maybe I should pick one up. He was a great guy, and he will be missed. I think that kind of wraps it up. If I can find any videos, I'll link them in the description below the video. I'll leave those couple videos on the screen as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was just kind of a memoriam of Rango. So if you liked the video, drop a like down below. If you have any comments, I'm not going to ask you guys to leave anything special in this video. Just leave the word Rango in your comment and I'll know you made it to the very end. I hope that you guys have a great day. I hope that this doesn't make you sad at all. I hope it kind of brings up your spirits and you can see the essence of Rango and share his life with me and everybody else on YouTube. If you want to see more reptiles, there's shrimp over there and frogs behind you. Subscribe to this channel and you'll be certain to get that. Have a good one, guys. Graphic Phoenix, out of here.